Hey gang, what is your favorite ghost story? Now, mine isn't maybe the scariest one you'll ever hear. It's not really the scariest one I've ever heard, but it's my favorite one because it happened in my family. Long time ago, my grandfather, he's about 17, 18 years old, which would put this about 1921 or 1922. Yeah, it was that long ago. He used to be gone a lot. He would leave the house and go out and gallivant, do whatever, be gone sometimes months at a time. Then he'd always come back. And one night he was been dropped off and he was heading back home. He was walking back home. They lived in Bowling Green. And he was walking over the old Gasper River Bridge. And I don't know what road that's on, but I'd love to find it. And I will, because I got to go see. But a guy that worked for their family named Zip, an old guy named Zip, walked past him on the bridge, and he spoke to him and said, "Hey, Zip, what's going on," or whatever. He said something to him. Well, Zip, it was kind of weird. He just kind of looked up at him and didn't say anything and kept on walking. So my grandfather got home. He told his mother, my great-grandmother, said, "I just saw Zip out on the bridge, and it was weird. He didn't say anything. I spoke to him, he didn't say anything to me." And his mother turned around and said, "Well, Zip's been dead a couple of weeks. And Zip died 2 weeks ago. You couldn't have seen Zip." My grandmother said, "Well, I did see Zip." And she said, "Yeah, well, he's been dead 2 weeks." I love that story. My mother tells it better. She does. Now, here's another good story from my buddy Daniel Benedict, also a horror film producer and director.
It was the late 90s, 98, 99, and I went with my friend to his girlfriend's house. And it was a really old house, probably built in the late 1800s, I'm assuming. It was really cool. It was modernized, it was updated, but it was still, had a lot of old features. When you walked in the front door, you could see there's a big open living room area, and straight back you could see into the bedroom. And then off to the side, there was another room. And when we got to the door, she opened the door, we went in, and out of the corner of my eye, I noticed somebody peeping around that side room, like out of the doorway, peeping at us. And I was, well, who else is here? And she was like, nobody's here, it's just me. And, I was like, yeah. She's like, "No, seriously, there's nobody here." I was like, "Well, there was just somebody. I saw someone peeping into the room." She said, "No, there's no one here, I promise." So after we went in, I kind of, after a minute, went into that room and looked, and there was no one there, and there was no other, exits to the room. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm probably just hallucinating, or just seeing things, shadow, just a figment of my imagination." No big deal. Didn't think about it anymore. So we were watching a movie, sitting there talking, hanging out on the couch in the living room, and the way the house was made, previously it had I'm assuming like a gravity heat system where the furnace was in the basement, and the heat would rise up through these grates that were in the floor. And heat the entire house. It had been updated since, but it still had the grates there in the floor and the ceiling, and they were pretty big enough you could see through them. The holes were big enough, and we were sitting there, and I got that feeling that everybody gets once in a while. You feel like somebody's watching you, or you feel like there's some eyes on you. And I was looking around, and I was like, this is strange. And then I looked up, and there was somebody looking down at us, at me. And I was like, okay, joke's over, seriously, who else is here? Because there's somebody up there right now looking down at us through this, grate. And she was like, "You're crazy. I swear there's nobody here. It's not a joke. I promise no one's here." I was like, "Yeah." So I went upstairs, checked the entire upstairs, nothing, no one, no anything. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm a little creeped out because I know what I saw, and I looked back up, and there was, no one there. It looked different than it did before, so I wasn't like seeing like a shadow of something else. So yeah, I was really creeped out at this time, and but we still hung out. Finished watching a movie. We were watching a scary movie. I can't remember exactly which one, but I just remember, it was adding to like kind of like the creepiness factor. So toward the end of the night before we left, it was really late. The way that we were sitting in the living room, the couch kind of faced more of that side room that I had originally seen someone, looking out of, or I thought I did. And out of nowhere, and this really creeped me out. Picture like a child's like rubber like bouncy ball, like a big ball that you would buy like at Walmart in one of those bins for like $2. All of a sudden, no sound, no anything, just slowly rolled out of the side room. So at this point, I was like, okay, and they all also thought it was kind of creepy. But at this point, I was like, I'm pretty much done with this place. So shortly after that, we left, and really, I have goosebumps now just talking about it. It was a true story. It really happened, and I don't know. I have no explanation for it.
Thank you, Daniel. And now, let's hear one from Theater Workshop of Owensboro Executive Director Todd Reynolds. Todd Reynolds, how are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Now you inhabit a great portion of your life is spent in Theater Workshop of Owensboro, and I know you've got a good ghost story for me because I think I know this one.
Well, we're here in the green room of the theater. That's where all the actors hang out and they're out on stage.
Yep, there it is.
And we've had some interesting things happen in here over the years. And
right.
The first thing that happened to me in this building is the story I'm going to tell you now.
Okay.
There were 6 of us hanging out in here one night after a rehearsal. We hadn't been here very long.
Right.
And as we were talking, we heard a sound, and it was the sound of the door opening. Now, this is a door over here.
Right here? Okay.
Right here. Follow me.
I follow you.
This door leads outside.
Oh, okay. This one.
And I don't know what it's going to do for your camera if I open this door, but we heard the sound of the door opening, and that was unusual because as far as we knew, nobody had a key to this door.
Mm-hmm.
So we all turned around to see who was going to come in, and what we saw was this door open, and it didn't just open a little bit, it opened all the way back.
Did it?
And then it closed.
Did it fly open
all
like
the way? No, it would open steadily like you would open a door. In
okay.
fact, we thought somebody was opening the door, but there was nobody there.
Yeah.
And then this door, which leads to our back basement, opened.
Uh-huh.
And closed.
Oh, okay.
Also by itself. Closed until it latched. And we all went, well, I guess George, we kind of nicknamed the ghost George. None of us had ever experienced anything before that, but we said, well, I guess George has something to do in the basement tonight. So we kind of laughed it off and went back to talking, but the whole time we were talking, I was wondering if I was down in the basement, what would I be seeing? Are there like paint cans floating around or whatever? Yeah. Well, about 15 minutes later, it all happened again, but in reverse. This door opened and closed again, immediately followed by this door opening and closing again.
Okay.
So I said, well, I guess George is finished in the basement. No, look what time it is. It's time for me to go too.
Yeah, see ya.
We all got up and left. But it took me a long time to kind of figure that out. And I think I've got a pretty good theory about what was going on.
Yeah.
You know, this used to be an old church. It was Trinity Episcopal Church, built in 1875. And, and at one time, this was heated by a coal furnace. And down in this basement, that's where the coal chute is and the old furnace was. And I would bet that this door opened when the church custodian came in, walked down those steps, loaded coal into that furnace, lit it for his parishioners, and then went back on out when it was done. Take about 10, 15 minutes to do that.
Exactly right.
I think that's what we were here for.
Ooh, okay. Well, I gotta go. Love it. Gang, you got any good spooky stories for Halloween? We want to hear them. We'll love this stuff.